That's a mighty warm drink in such desperate cold. Hey guys, so this is my review for The Hateful Eight. I saw this yesterday. It is the 8th film from Quentin Tarantino. It is about a bounty hunter named John Ruth, played by Kurt Russell, who is trying to bring in this bounty called Daisy Darmaduke. And he also meets up with Samuel Jackson, who plays this character called Major Warren. And they come to this cabin, and there are these other people there, and no one is who they appear to be. Now, the first thing I'm going to get out of the way with is, for those of my friends who know me, they know that me and Quentin Tarantino and I more so, have a very interesting sort of relationship. I think his films are good. I think they're very creative. I think that they have this really unique flair. He definitely has his own unique way of making a film. I'll give him that. However, I'm not a fan per se. I enjoy his films, but I'm not a fan. And it's not because of him, it's because of his fans. I basically had to deal with so many people in high school who could not accept that anything Quentin Tarantino ever did could have a fault. So anytime I tried to have a debate with them, they would just turn into a yelling match of how you are wrong about Quentin Tarantino. So basically, I don't like Quentin Tarantino for the same reason I don't like Vancouver Canucks anymore, because of the fans. Otherwise, I've gotten past that. I have actually talked with several Quentin Tarantino fans who can be logical with their conversations and debates. So, past that, on to the film. The Hateful Eight, in my opinion, is probably the longest film I have ever seen that takes place mainly in one place. It is literally in this shack, this cabin that they're in. That's where the majority of the film takes place. And I'm not talking about around it, out of it, going around it. I literally mean in it. Admittedly, they get there, but a lot of the film takes place, like 90% of the film takes place in this cabin. And thankfully, due to very good cinematography, even though it's inside a cabin, fantastic music by Ennio Morricone, and very witty dialogue by Quentin Tarantino, the film is good. It's basically like a Western version of Reservoir Dogs. There's only one major issue, though. Reservoir Dogs got by with not only just this great writing, but it did go out. It did go to other places. We did learn about other characters in different areas. The whole majority of this film takes place mainly inside this cabin, so we are stuck in it with our characters. There's only maybe one moment in which they go back in time and they go somewhere else, but that's them coming to the cabin again. So really, this cabin is the main set, and that kind of does have a bit of a limitation on the story. The story itself, however, is very good. It has a lot of reminiscent feelings of a whodunit, a mystery. Really, these characters are so well written and so diverse with who they are and what they do. You literally cannot tell who is good and who is bad. You are always on the fence. Even when people start getting picked off, you're still a little bit in the dark. And even when it is revealed, you're still wondering who did this, who did that. And so that's something that can definitely be said that is good about this film, is despite the fact that there was only 8 characters inside one main building, the film still is able to hold your attention. Despite the fact that it's nearly 3 hours long, it still can grab you. The only thing I will say is, for those who expect a Quentin Tarantino film to have lots of blood and lots of shooting, this film doesn't. Reservoir Dogs has more shooting than this movie. Inglourious Bastards has more shooting than this movie. If you ever wanted a film that was majority dialogue, this is the most dialogue Quentin Tarantino movie ever. And oddly enough, I didn't mind it that much. The thing is, I'm going to say this right now, this movie has near zero rewatchability. All of his other films have it because they have these very interesting sort of contexts, these interesting references to pop culture. They have also really cool kind of twists in the story. This one, once you know what's happened, you literally think, when I was sitting in my car, when I was coming back, I was thinking to myself, I basically know the whole movie. There's nothing that I would ever think to need to see again. I basically got the whole picture in one go because of the length. For every time there is a revelation, every time there is a new occurrence in the film, they spent so much time in between each of these events that they're so solidified in your mind for what the characters go through their dialogue that it's cemented in there. And so the rewatchability lessens each time. Each minute passes, the rewatchability dies. And that's the biggest problem I have with this movie. It's not because of where it is, it's not of the characters, it's not of the writing. All those are fantastic. And there are some twists that happen in this film that I'm like, wow, I didn't see that coming. Wow, he's dead already? Wow. No, it's this film, you can't watch it again. Out of all the Quentin Tarantino's films, I admit I would rather watch any of them over again, even though I have seen a few of them twice, over this film, because of just its lack of rewatchability. The whole film has a fantastic soundtrack too by Ennio Morricone. I love this guy. If you didn't watch my Once Upon a Time in the West review, watch it. It's a fantastic movie because not only because of the whole story and how the film progresses, but because of his music. And this film has a fantastic soundtrack. But that's the most memorable part of this movie to me. That kind of is a bit of deterrent, obviously. So in the end, my thoughts on The Hateful Eight is it's a good film. It's definitely not one of Tarantino's best, despite what some people have said. It's possibly one of his more laid back sort of films. It's definitely the most independent film you could ever say he's done. Even though Reservoir Dogs was made with absolutely shit budget, this one possibly has a higher budget because of the actors who are in it. But in a sense of actual production value, this film has the smallest I've ever seen. So in the end, what is my rating for The Hateful Eight? I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I did enjoy the characters, and I'm not being Tarantino biased here. But I'm going to give it a 4 out of 7. Mainly because, I don't know, I just didn't dig it as much as some people did. Like, I was enjoying it, but the fact that this was on several people's top 10 lists, I was like, how? This movie has zero rewatchability to me. And as interesting as the characters are, and as interesting as the writing is, the film just doesn't do a lot of anything different. Tarantino really didn't push anything with this film. That's something that I'm kind of used to from him, is doing something different. And this film basically did Django Unchained, but with less shooting and less black people jokes and less interesting villains. So anyway, guys, that's my review of The Hateful Eight. I possibly am already starting off the year on a bad foot, but I hope you guys like my cowboy hat. Anyway, that's all for me. I hope you guys are having a good beginning of the year, and I'll see you next time.